coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts. Hey man, shout out to everybody out there on Team Banky Pound, man. I appreciate the love. Bam, 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 boom. I appreciate the support. We out here, man. Big love to everybody out there on TBP Nation. I appreciate all the love. I appreciate all the support. Man, keep supporting. It's very important, man. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe on these videos. This is the only way that we get in this algorithm. This is the only way that we spread this positive energy, man, and get it all around the world where it needs to be, because somebody out there that we know needs to hear this information. It may be the difference between them getting on the right path and getting on the path to the penitentiary. So share the message, spread the word. Salute to everybody who rock with me. Let's go. Let's keep it going. 2025, man. Salute. Listen. Listen up, listen up, listen up. This applies to everybody, not just the young people, man, because penitentiary is equal opportunity misery dispenser. It will deliver that misery to everybody, anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, what size you are, man, or how old you are. It got something for you. You understand? So this story right here is crazy, man. I know how you know y'all out here in the street, you've never been to penitentiary, you heard rumors of these type of things, but yeah, sometimes some of the things y'all heard be on point. I knew this dude is actually had a wife and kids on the street, and simultaneously he got a husband in the penitentiary. He got a man in the penitentiary, and he got a wife and kids on the street simultaneously. You know, and I can remember my first time encountering this. This was my first time encountering a situation like that, and it was kind of, you know, I want to use the word fascinating to me because I'm looking at it like I don't really understand, because at the time I was going to the visiting room a lot, so I used to see him in the visiting room with his wife and kids. You understand? And I used to see him in the block, you know, with his man acting like, you know, a woman, being handled, being told what to do, catering to him, feeding him, getting him coffee, doing all of these things. And then I used to see him in the visiting room and his wife getting up and going to the machine and feeding him food in the visiting room, and he playing with his kids and he telling her what to do. And I'm like, it was like freaking me out, you know what I'm saying? And I used to wonder in my mind, just out loud, like, do she know? Or and I don't know. It just seemed like she did, because it had been times in that block where I see him on that phone, and the dude come over and, you know, be talking to him and saying stuff to him, and he handle him, and he might cuff the phone or whatever, be talking to him or whatever, but he be acting like, you know, like he submissive. But when he talking to his wife, he was acting aggressive. You know what I'm saying? And this is a white guy. It was a white guy. You know what I'm saying? And he won't, like, he was older than me at the time. I'm probably in my, you know, late 20s or something, or early 20s or mid 20s. And he looked like he probably was 30 something. Now, I don't know the whole information, but some of the stuff that I heard, it was like he got like 10 to 15 years or something like that for some type of, you know, white collar crime or something. I don't know if he did some fraud, I don't know, but I know he had like 10 to 15 years, and I know he had a man up in there. You know what I'm saying? And from the looks of him, when he in that block, he terrified. He scared to death. You know what I'm saying? He gonna do whatever dude tell him to do, whenever dude tell him to do it, and he gonna snap to it. You know, but it's different when he on that phone, because I've been in phone range of him too. The phones are so close together. I've been in phone range with him, and I heard the tone of his voice, the things that he's saying, and the way he's talking to his wife. I see it in the visiting room. It's a total difference. It's like he living two lives. You know what I'm saying? He living two lives. He living the life of a husband, and he living the life of having a husband. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, this is crazy, you know. And I don't know, maybe he was doing it, that was his survival tactics, because the looks of him, from the optics, he can't beat nobody. You know, I mean, unless he knew something that I don't know, he might knew some Sifu stuff. But other than that, his physical makeup won't that somebody that's gonna, you know what I'm saying, that's gonna get busy, that's gonna, you know what I'm saying, put some work in. And then I guess when you working with 10 to 15 years and you can see a tunnel, you can see a way out, and you see this type of lifestyle, because I'm telling you, when you go to prison, it's gonna overwhelm you. When you see the violence and you see the chaos and you see the confusion that goes on in there on a daily basis, and you've never been put in this type of situation, it's gonna overwhelm you. You know what I'm saying? Decisions gonna have to be made within your mind about how you gonna get through this, how you gonna process this, how you gonna live, what you gonna do, what you ain't gonna do. And I guess a lot of people, when they faced with that type of situation, they fall, and that's how he was. You know what I'm saying? And the dude that was his man, which, you know, is no need to say his name, but the dude that was his man, he was known to, you know, be a head buster. You know what I'm saying? Like a certified head buster, Bethlehem pusher. He gonna give it to you if you want it. You understand? And he used to handle them, man. And he'd be out there playing poker and stuff, and he'd call him and stuff and say, "Man, go give me a cup of coffee." And he'd be like, "All right, I got it, I got it, daddy, I got it." And I'm like, what the? And he'll go get it and bring it to him, give it to him, you know what I'm saying? Bring him a cigarette, light a cigarette. This was when we could still be smoking. We used to be able to smoke cigarettes and all that in the block, cigars or whatnot. He used to do all of that. You understand? Do all of that. Dude might be at the poker table sometime, and we been there all day long. He might kick his shoes off, and the boy would go bring him his slippers, bring his shout shoes out there, put them there for him, pick his shoes up, clap them, dust them off, and take them on back to the room. Ask him, do he need anything? All of that. And then he in the visiting room getting all of that. He's serving somebody, then he in the visiting room getting served. You know what I'm saying? And it was weird to me. It was just like super weird to me. You know what I'm saying? And then I remember the seller that I had at the time, he had been there longer than me. And I used to, you know what I'm saying, just talk to him. He used to be like, "Man, young and you only, hey, man, this is a different world, man. You know, that might be the only way he can survive, man. You know, he might not be into that. He might not be, you know, gay, but in here, he ain't got no other way to survive. You know, you can look at him and tell. You see what's going on around here? You think dudes wouldn't be extorting him and beating him up, or probably even, you know, taking his, you know, his butt if he won't with dude." And it has made me think, and I was like, you know, because dudes during this time too, like I say, dudes, the extortion game was deep. If you go to that commissary and you can't hold that bag, somebody want that bag. You understand me? If you got TV, or you got, you know, at this time you could get boxes sent in. When I first got locked up, you get like a box a month. People can send you stuff like, you know, clothes, and you know, I think it was a certain amount of hygiene items. They could send you like soap, and they could send you like 2 washcloths, a towel, a robe. You could get things like that one time. They cut it out as I got deeper into my bit, but at one time, like maybe in the first, maybe I want to say the first 6 to 8 years, you could get stuff like that. Cause I remember I had an auntie, she used to send me big old box, man, toilet paper in there, uh, t-shirts, towels, soap. You know what I'm saying? You get that big old Average Spring bars of soap, and dudes used to get those things and sell them because it was a commodity in prison. You know what I'm saying? Because we couldn't get that on the commissary. Big old bars of Dove soap and stuff like that. So people could do that, you know what I'm saying? But they cut that out because dudes gonna find a way, man. They start putting drugs in them, you know what I'm saying? There's always drugs in the penitentiary, you know what I'm saying? So it's dudes gonna tax you for that. If you can't hold that and you get that, man, you might come back from the property with your box from home, and it may be gone that same day. Dude, the wolves is coming to get it if you can't protect it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it was. So I didn't fashion him as being a dude that could protect his own. So he needed that. But at the cost of his manhood. You know what I'm saying? At the cost of his manhood. So it just started making me think in my mind, like, because I was looking at him like he had to be like that on the street. You know what I'm saying? Not realizing because of the way he was moving. He was moving like he was in total acceptance of this, total agreement with this. He was acting feminine. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that was beaten to him, whether that was scared into him, but he just was doing it as if it was natural to him. But when I see him in the visiting room, I couldn't help but to be, you know what I'm saying, to be, curious, like, and I used to have to catch myself looking at how he was operating with his wife and his kids. And the way he was operating with his wife and his kids was in a dominant man or fashion. You know what I'm saying? And his wife was submissive to him. And I've told you, I've heard him on the phone talking to her aggressive, in his white guy voice, like, damn it, I said no. Don't come Saturday. You just come Sunday like I told you. You get here about 12:30. And then you going over here asking, do you need anything, daddy? I was discombobulated with that type of stuff when I first got locked up. But you got to keep your mouth closed and keep your eyes open and your ears open. And you have to look and you have to listen and you have to learn the environment that you in. And you have to learn not to judge, man, because getting involved with that or saying something about that can cost you your life in the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? Dudes will cross his path or someone might just bump him or have a disagreement with him. And then his dude is coming at you on some, you know what I'm saying, some whole other stuff. Then you in a whole war. You in a whole life or death situation. So your personal opinions from what you bringing off the street and how you feel about certain things, they're not going to apply in the penitentiary. They not. That's how a lot of dudes come to penitentiary and get late because they see things that they're not accustomed to seeing. They're around things that they're not accustomed to being around, and their disgust will come out. And sometimes their disgust will come out verbally, and if it comes out verbally, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem, man. So if you ain't willing to go to war for something, don't even speak on anything. You don't speak on nothing in penitentiary that you're not willing to go to war for, that you're not willing to stand 10 toes down about and say, this is my position and I don't like it and I'm woo. You know what I'm saying? It's the art of minding your business in prison, man, and just worry about what affects you personally. If it don't affect you personally, you cannot get involved with it. But at this stage, I'm just curious. I'm like, man, this, because you got gay people in there moving around. You got boys moving around, and then it start making you look at all of them like, was this their option? Was they like this? Was they made to be like this? Are they doing this because they scared? Are they doing this because they under duress? They under pressure? And clearly the white dude, he was under pressure. You know what I'm saying? So he had to adapt to the environment that he was in just to survive, to get back home to his wife and kids. But in my mind, I'm like, you can't go back from that. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody see behind the door and know what they actually doing, but you could certainly imagine what they doing. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing for him as a man to be doing. So it's like, I don't know, man. So that was another lesson in the beginning. You know what I'm saying, of my bit, to make me understand that this is a different world, man, and it's crazy, and and survival is the number one key. Survival is the number one key, and it comes down to what are you willing to do to survive. And obviously, he wasn't willing to pick that Bethlehem up and fight and go to war for his manhood, fight and go to war for his freedom. You know what I'm saying? To get to the end of that sentence, to get to that date where he can get out. He wasn't willing to do that. He wasn't willing to take those type of chances. So he submitted to being somebody's wife in prison when he actually has a wife on the street. So hey, don't get it twisted. And I know a lot of people would think in their mind, oh, that would never happen to me, or I could never go for that. But can you take that Bethlehem and push it up in somebody until they can't breathe no more? Can you keep them from taking it away from you? Can you rumble good enough to get the job done with that in your hand? Can you rumble with that in your hand if the person that you rumbling with got one in his hand and he trying to take your life? Those are questions you will have to answer in the penitentiary, because that pressure will be applied to you one way or another. If it ain't nothing but somebody trying to extort you, if it ain't nothing but somebody trying to run some flim flam on you, some skullduggery, some larceny to separate you from what you got, separate you from what your people send you. You see what I'm saying? So you always gonna be at war in the penitentiary, because there's always people starving and there's always people trying to get what you have. You know what I'm saying? So it comes down to, what are you willing to do not to give it up? And that means everything. What are you willing to do not to give it up? And he answered that question because I don't think he was like that on the street. I don't think he had no choice in the penitentiary. I don't think he was like that on the street, but I do not think he had a choice in the penitentiary because I couldn't foresee him doing it. But don't get me wrong, over the years that I ended up doing in decades, I've seen dudes that look like they can't get the job done, but they will get the job done if you go bother them, you know. But I guess it won't in him, man. And I used to just, I never forget him, man. I can see his face in my head right now. You know what I'm saying? And he just was just two different people. And you know, if you never seen that before, you know, most people don't. Most people, when they find out people got two different lives, they find out, you know what I'm saying, not ever seeing it. You know, just hearing about, oh, you was doing this and I ain't know you was, that's different. I could see it. You know what I'm saying? I could see him living both of them lives. I could see him in the park, and I could see him on the yard and walking around and being submissive, and I could see him in that visiting room being dominant and being in control and being the one that called the shots over his wife, and then having shots called over him by a man. I saw that. You know what I'm saying? And at the young age that I was at, that was like mind-boggling to me. And it let me know that, you know what I'm saying, you can never judge a book by its cover. You never know what's going on. You never know a person's real story. I don't know the whole story. I don't know what he was really thinking. I don't know what was really on his mind. You know what I'm saying? I just know from what I observed. And what I observed was just crazy to me, especially at the time that I was observing it, man. But this is the penitentiary for you, man. This is, you know, a gazillion reasons why you should never go. A gazillion reasons, man. And I know a lot of these young people out here thinking that you can handle yourself in any situation. But you never gonna know that until you are in those situations, you know, because I done seen them all, man. I done seen them come in there shooting up the blocks and shooting up their neighborhoods and get up in there, man, and can't even keep their locker full without somebody taking everything they got, you know. So it is what it is, man. But I just wanted to share that with y'all, man. Y'all talk to me in the comments. I talk back. Stay free, young people. Stay free, stay free, stay free, stay free. I promise you it will be the best decision you ever make in your life. Man, y'all be safe, be smart, make good decisions, man. TBP Nation, stand up. We out here. We're going to keep on bringing this heat. Make sure you go get the membership if you feel I'm worth the blessing, because I'm going to bless you when you get over there, because I'm going to give it to you raw and uncut. You understand me? No chaser, just raw and uncut. So if you're prepared for that, if you're ready for that, man, get your membership today. I will be dropping more videos on there. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm dropping at least 3 to 4 of them per week. So well worth the money. If you feel like I'm worth the blessing, get it. If you also feel like I'm worth the blessing, please hit the GoFundMe. We trying to get this thing on the big stage. We trying to get this in the movies so more people can receive this message and more people can make some better decisions with their lives, man, where they may not never end up in the situation that I just got finished talking about. Y'all be safe out there. Be smart. Make good decisions, man. Duck them hooks, man. They out there in the penitentiary waiting for anybody who is willing to sign up.
The banking special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man.
My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.